Commonwealth champion, European champion, world champion, and as of today, world #1 bantamweight. That's a hell of a CV. You're going to be a marked man.
Yes. Yeah.
You're going to be a marked man by the time Rio comes around next summer.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've earned it this year. You know, I've went out there and beat everybody who I could beat. So to pick up the world #1 spot and the world title, it's a great achievement for me.
And to be the first Irish world champion, the first Irish male world champion is remarkable. It's a testament to the work you've put in.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. You know, I've dedicated my whole life to boxing. I've been in boxing 17 years, so it's been very, very tough. But I've earned it, so finally got a bit of a rest.
And you didn't bring the medal today.
I forgot all about it. Paddy Barnes didn't want me to bring it because he was a bit embarrassed he didn't have one.
Michael, we've heard an awful lot in the last few weeks about Ireland's high performance culture in amateur boxing. Yeah. At this stage now, have we a boxing culture that's professional in everything but name?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think we're more professional than the professionals. We're training more or less 5 days a week in Dublin, or 4 days a week in Dublin, twice a day, and the sessions are 2-hour sessions. So, you know, you train 4 hours a day. And the setup we have, the coaches we have, it's fantastic. We have the best coaches, and from January, I think we're going to have the best facilities as well.
And that drive for professionalism, the push to keep on pushing the standards higher and higher, is that something that comes from yourself and Paddy and the other members of the high performance teams? Is it something that it comes from the coaches? Is it a team effort? Where does that push come from?
Well, I think, you know, we've always wanted to be the best in the world, and now we're showing that we actually can be the best in the world. And the other boxers in the team are seeing some of the fighters doing it, like myself and Paddy, and they're striving to be like us, trying to be the best. So, you know, it's in our culture to be the best, and that's what we're striving for.
Just to give everybody here a little bit of an idea, can you maybe talk us through what a typical training week for you is like? You're saying you're in Dublin 4 times a week. I mean, what are the demands on an amateur boxer in Ireland at the moment?
Well, we're only in Dublin 4 days a week, but I train for the full 7 or full 6. You know, it depends. I may take one day off, but day one on a Tuesday in Dublin, first we'll have track in the morning, which is either sprints or a long distance run. And then in the evening, it will either be bags or pads, which is very, very high intensity. And then day 2 will be strength and conditioning in the morning, either circuits or weights. And then that afternoon will be sparring. It'll be 6 or 8 rounds. And then as the week goes on, it'll change the run again in the morning. And then in the evening, it'll be sparring. Maybe the next day will be 9 or 10 rounds. And then the last day will be, I think it's the Thursday will be 9 or 10 rounds, and the last day will be 3 threes free, or 5 threes open.
That's, like we were discussing this backstage before we come on, that's an insane amount of work for an amateur athlete. As you said, you're more professional than professionals. Where do you find the time to fit in anything else?
You know, it is my life, it's my job, so I just gotta give everything I can to it, even though I have a family. But they understand, and they are striving for me to be the best, so they all get behind me and help me and support me a lot.
We were discussing, this has probably been one of the busiest years of your career to date. You had the WSB at the start of the year, the World Series of Boxing. Then you moved on to the European Championships and then to the World Championships. But at the start of all that, you also had a new arrival into your family as well, just to add another massive responsibility on top of everything else that you've got.
It's probably been the best year of my life. You know, from January on, I had WSB, which was a 14-week stint, and it was on every week. So, you know, it was very, very tough and very demanding. And during that time, I was in the house waiting, or else away in another country waiting on my baby to be born. So when she was born, I was actually home at the time, but I had to fly out the next morning. As soon as when she was coming home, I had to fly out. So it was a bit unfortunate. But now, in between that, I got a bit of time with her, and then I've been away. So I've been away for more or less a half year. When you think about it, like add it all up, I had the Europeans, which was a 3-week stint as well. So it was quite tough. I had 5 fights in 10 days or so, but the camp and all before it. So then the World Championships was away for 4 weeks. And it was very, very tough. We were in Doha, which was 45 degrees more or less every day. At night time, it was still like 38 degrees, and it was very, very warm. I was more or less stuck in the hotel room for the full 2 weeks of competition because I couldn't bear it in the heat.
You spoke a little bit there about the physical preparation and stuff, but mentally, what's it like when a major life event like that, the arrival of a child, happens and you're essentially on the day of a fight or a couple of days out from a fight?
Just got to put it in the back of your head, and just hope for the best. Hope that the baby and her mother was going to be okay, and my fiance, that is. So, it was fantastic. It gave me a bit more of a drive as well, because as soon as she was born and I had to fly out, I was gutted, but I went away with a bit of life in me, and I went over to my next fight and destroyed the guy. So it was a bit of an advantage for me.
I mean, that's only one of a number of compromises that is kind of asked of an amateur athlete competing at the top level. I know yourself, Paddy is here, and yourself and Paddy have spoken a lot kind of about the financial demands and the making it work as an amateur athlete, but still supporting a family and being able to compete at the highest level, the expense that comes at. I mean, how much of that time and energy does that consume for you?
It consumes a lot of time, in my head more than anything. You have to be thinking and worry about the next builds and stuff, and it is tough, but you just have to keep going. You gotta put that kind of stuff to the back of your head when you're competing, but it always creeps back in after competitions, because you're thinking, oh, we're going to get some support here, we're going to get some sponsorship, but it's unfortunate we haven't got any yet, but I'm sure we'll probably get some for Rio anyway.
Do you think if you didn't have that kind of stuff to worry about, that you might be able to, there might be another 10 or 20% there performance-wise that you could work on maximising?
Yeah, I think would add the extra 5-10%. Having something less to worry about is a big advantage in any sport. And for us in boxing, one of our main worries is the funding and money and stuff.
Boxing, or amateur boxing anyway, certainly it's a little bit unusual in that it's not like football where you've got fixtures week after week after week. A lot of the time as an amateur, you're building up for maybe a tournament, you're trying to peak around that tournament, then you have a bit of time off, and you're trying to peak then again for another tournament later in the year. Is that something that just comes naturally when boxing is the game you're in, or is it something that you have to work quite consciously at?
I think it's conscious, but you know your own body, and for the World Championships there, I knew I was peaking towards mid-camp, and I knew I had to kind of cut down on my sparring, and it kind of showed a bit in my first fight, because I had hit my peak in sparring, but I had to bring back down. And then I was a wee bit too low in for my first fight, and I had a bit of a rusty performance, but kind of shook it off and got on with it and got the win.
Where do you find out the most about yourself and where you're at? Like, is it in the ring when you're actually in the middle of a fight, or can you tell from training, okay, I'm at 90% here, I'm coming up nicely to where I need to be when it comes to competition time? Yeah,
I know from sparring. We do a lot of sparring, like really a good lot of rounds. So I know coming towards the end of camp when I'm just touching, but that there camp I had it hit at mid camp, as I said, but when you're just touching that peak, and you just got to ease off, because you're just flying, you're probably destroying boys in sparring, and it's getting quite easy, and that's how you're just hitting your peak.
Let's maybe just talk a little bit about Worlds. I mean, we've talked there about all the planning and preparation physically and mentally that goes in, but when you're 20 seconds away from a World Championship gold and you get caught, what goes through your mind?
When it went through my mind, when I hit the dirt, I was just like, what's going on here? I've never been down in my life, and I was like, whoa, did he actually hit me there? But I just had to get on with it. I'm a professional athlete, as you say, and I just knew I had to get up and keep going. I was 20 seconds away from making history, and I got up and pushed on and still got the win, so I was happy enough. But for being down the first time in my life, I was shook, because it was a great shot. He hit me right in the money, and when I got up, I was more embarrassed than anything.
Yeah.
It was like, I've never been down in my life, and I've been down in the world final, so that's what it was.
When it happens like that, do you even have time is there even time to panic or to freak out a bit?
I panicked as soon as I hit the ground, because I was like, how did I go down there?
Yeah.
And then when I stood up, I was clear, I was ready to go, and I was ready to rock.
As we said when we were starting out, you've won everything there is to win now at bantamweight going into Rio. Everybody knows who you are. It's not like London 2012 where maybe you could hope that you might sneak in under the radar and catch a few lads off guard.
Yeah.
Does anything change in your preparations now going into next summer? Do you need to do anything differently?
No, I don't think I need to do anything differently. At the minute, I believe I am the best athlete in the world, and it is proven, because I am number one in the world. But I just have a confidence around me that I know I'll go to Rio and I'll get gold, definitely 100%. I've qualified for the same Olympics twice, so it's unheard of as well, because you can't really do it. But I'll go to Rio confident taking the gold medal.
And have any, since you've won all the accolades that you have won this year, has anybody have any of the other opponents in your weight division come up to you and kind of say, well, look, it'll be me and you this time next year, mate?
I don't think any opponents would want to come up and say it to me, because I'd probably throw a few swift ones at them. But you know, I think some of them they know they're going to be thereabouts. But at the minute, I don't think there's anybody in arm's length of me. You know.
Obviously, the biggest story in Irish boxing for the last few weeks has been Billy Walsh, and Billy's leaving to go to America.
Yeah. Tell
us a little bit about your relationship with Billy, how it all started, and the impact and the influence he's had on you up until now.
You know, I came on the team in 2011, and Billy was the head coach, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he made me a part of the team, and I felt very close to him. He was a good friend of mine. He always texted me as well, so it was sad to see him go. But you know, it's things happen, and things didn't work out for him, and he had better options abroad, so he had to do what he had to do, didn't he?
He didn't really have much of a choice at the end, I think, in everything that's come out since. Yeah. And it's a pity. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. But for you personally, what changes now that Billy is gone?
I don't think much changes for me. You know, I have Zora Anthea, who's probably the best coach ever to grace these shores, and then I have my father as well, who's a part of the high performance setup, and Eddie Bulger. So I think we have a great team behind Billy, who was always there anyway. But these guys are going to push us on even more, I think, as well. I don't think there's going to be much changing on the setup.
Is it something that you could see Zora maybe stepping up to do, or your dad stepping up to do down the line?
Yeah, I think Zora's going to step up and do it at the minute, and rightly so. He's been there the longest, been there 13 years, and he is the head of technical boxing, and he's the best I've ever seen. So I think he's the right choice for the job.
You've said a good few times in the past that even before you won Commonwealth Gold, you said the goal was to go and win Commonwealth, to go and win Europeans, to go and win the World, to go and win the Olympic medal, and then to go pro.
Yeah.
Has anything changed in that plan?
Nothing's changed. I've predicted I was going to do all this. Predicted I was going to win the European gold, the Commonwealth gold, and the World gold. And you know, everything's came true so far. So I've already said. I said ages ago, after London, I was going to win gold in Rio, and I really do believe it. I really feel it. I have the confidence around me. I feel I have it already. I feel the medal's in my safe in the house. So you know, it's sitting there already, and I'm going to just go and pick it up.
Will you go pro regardless? Say if the unthinkable happened and you were beaten in Rio next summer, is the intention still to turn professional afterwards?
Oh, 100%. You know, it is down the line, and it is after Rio, because my main goal is Rio at the minute. But professional boxing's where I'll be, and I plan to be at the top of the world in professional boxing. And I believe, and I think other people around the world already know that I will take over professional boxing in Ireland.
When did Rio become the goal? Like, does Rio only become the main focus after Worlds, or does it become the main focus from the moment you're beaten in London and you step back out of that ring? When does that become the thing that drives you and that motivates you every day?
It became the main focus as soon as I stepped into the ring in London, as you say. I got the bronze in London. I was only 19 or 20, so you know, my main focus was Rio right after that, and it always has been. I'm always striving to be better and be the best athlete I can be, and if I'm at my top performance, no one can beat me.
You're in the kind of not too unique, but it is an unusual position in that you have a brother who is a professional boxer, making his way up through the professional ranks while you're the amateur. There's a great story about how Jamie ended up turning professional when he did.
It's true. It's true.
Is it true?
Yeah, it's true. We were both drawn against each other. Well, there was three of us in the weight, and there was me, a guy who Jamie and him it was one each between them, and then Jamie, he got the bye to the final, and I fought the guy and beat that guy, and then me and Jamie were drawn in the final to fight each other in the Ulster Senior finals, and he says, "Listen, I'll let you have the title and I'll go professional," and the rest is history.
Was that a decision he came to by himself, or were your mum and dad kind of saying, "Listen, lads, aren't fighting each other, not here today"?
We weren't allowed to fight each other no matter what, so I think they were more lean on Jamie's side, because it was coming up the Commonwealth year and he would have got picked on the team and stuff. But the fact that he says, "Listen, I'm going to go professional, you go and do the business," and I was grateful he has now. It's just boosted my career, give me a kickstart, and put me where I am today.
How much of an advantage is it having him in your camp and having him as a brother, and what kind of advice can he bring to you when you're considering both your amateur game and when you're considering the possibilities of going pro down the line?
Yeah, well, he's had a bad experience, so with the way things went for pro, he's still 14-0. He hasn't lost yet, but the way he's been dealt with, kind of managed at the start of his career was kind of hard for him. So he's a bit stale at times, but so he knows the good and bad sides of the pro game, and he does know the amateur game too. But so he's able to evade me, and it will help me in future for when I do turn professional.
Well, and when you do, like, where are the biggest? We've spoken again about how you are essentially a professional in all but name, but where's the biggest step up to be made? What are going to be the biggest challenges for you when you do eventually decide to go pro?
I don't think there'll be much difference. You know, as you say, we're already in more or less the most professional setup there is in boxing at the minute. Terms of doing more rounds will probably be the hardest, even though I'm probably one of the fittest athletes in the world in the boxing game anyway. I still believe I'll be able to do 12 rounds handy enough. But that'll probably be the biggest step up for any amateur going to professional.
Is there more of a, like, your style, or at least your style in the Worlds this year it was a very technical, you know, billions or, and your dad had worked on not getting drawn into kind of an all-out war and kind of picking off your shots, and like I think we saw in Europeans and in Worlds you were like head and shoulders technically above a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is that something that is likely to stand to you more in the professional game with the way judges score it?
Yeah, well, I think the more clean boxing you do, the easier it is to win a fight. And I can fight any way you want me to fight. I can fight going forward, back, southpaw, orthodox. I can do anything you want, but you know, I'll choose the easiest way for me to win without me getting any marks or any damage done to myself. So, you know, it's all about longevity. In boxing, you need to have a long career. If you want a long career in boxing, you've got to not get hit, and that's the main thing. You know, hit and not be hit. It's the art of boxing.
How did you find it easy in the world final against the Uzbekistani fighter when you went in and you realised, hang on a second, this isn't going to be one of those technical fights where I can just pick off clean shots. I'm actually going to need to go after this lad. How easy is it to just change a game plan like that after 20 seconds of a fight?
Yeah, as you said there, I knew 20 seconds into the fight, I just had to change the game plan. He was on me too much, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to have the space because he was so quick to get on me. So I just knew I had to beat him at his own game and outfight him, and which I did. And you know, I showed that I can do anything in boxing. I fought a full fight southpaw as well. That's the same fight, and fought a different game plan as going forward. So I have a switch in my head where I just know if something's not right, I can change it right away.
Well, Michael, I don't think you've left anybody here in any doubt that you'll be bringing home a gold medal from Rio next summer. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commonwealth, European, World Champion, the world #1, and soon to be the Olympic champion, Michael Conlan.